Nice. All right, we are live. Hey, everybody, welcome to Hump Day Hangouts. This is a very special episode. I feel like, what was the number person on Sesame Street? Was it the count? Is that the
count.
episode 444? So 444 episodes. Today is the 17th of May, 2023. We do have a few announcements for you guys. We got a lot of really good questions. I was just checking those out before we hopped on. And then we will also be taking a look at YouTube comments and questions. So if you're here, let us know, say hello. It's great to hear from you. We love knowing people are here. And I know we got a few regulars who we appreciate. We also love it if you're new and just checking it out. And if you are new, you can go to YouTube, search Semantic Mastery, click subscribe, stay up to date. Not only will you get notifications about Hump Day Hangouts, but you can also get notified, for example, if you ask a question ahead of time by going to semanticmastery.com/HD questions. You can always drop a question in there ahead of time, and we get it. Not everybody can make Hump Day Hangouts every week. It makes us sad, but we get it. That's reality. But if you're subscribed to the channel, you can get updated when we post Hump Day Hangouts, and when we break up each question, we post those videos out there. So good stuff, and we love having subscribers. Makes us feel nice, warm, and fuzzy, and we love interacting with you guys on Hump Day Hangouts. So with that said, I'm going to say hello to the guys real quick, and then a couple announcements like I mentioned, and then we'll get into it. So Chris, how you doing today?
Doing good, lots of work to do as usual. At the same time, also traveling in the world, so happy.
Nice.
Can't complain.
Oh yeah, you're in our time zone almost.
Yeah, like I'm plus 1 hour actually of the
what
behind
is it,
you. So
is it 3 p.m. there? Or 5 p.m.?
It's 3 p.m.
Oh wow, so it's got to be quite a change for you compared to what it normally is this time. So
yeah, it's usually 10 p.m. my time, so that's still good.
Awesome. All right, well, Bradley, how about you? How are you doing?
I'm giggling because Cecilia said, Adam, you're energetic today. Share some of that.
I need to. Went out. I don't know. I was talking to Bradley right before we went live. I was like, it's kind of cold today. Like, it's a really nice day. It's sunny, but it's like 40 degrees here. It's supposed to freeze overnight. He was saying the cold weather's traveling down because he's a couple hundred miles or several hundred miles south of me. But yeah, I went out for a nice run today, feel good. And so I'm glad it's coming through. So before we get into this stuff, I got a couple quick announcements. We've been talking about POFU Live. That's going to be coming up last weekend in September. Tickets are going to be going live here shortly. We're getting the website up and getting in contact with the guest speakers. We've got several people reaching out to. Can't announce anything yet, but it will be near or in Boston, Massachusetts, and it will be the last weekend in September. And we will be having a VIP meetup event. So really looking forward to that. Those have been some of the most fun. Obviously the event itself is great for the content and the knowledge and the, I don't know if you want to call it camaraderie or sharing of information and meeting people, but the VIP events have just been a blast every time we've done them. I see Bradley smiling. What do you like the VIP events?
Yeah, no, I'm giggling at the comments because
okay.
The same crew that's chatty and Twitch in the mornings is here chatting it up, and it's just funny.
Gotcha. Well, I'm thinking back to when we had POFU Live in Colorado, and we were racing go-karts, indoor go-karts, but these were fast. Like, I don't know. Do we ever have like a speedometer or anything? They had to have got up to like 35, 40 miles an hour.
Probably.
Yeah. So that was fun. We had Adam Bensman, one of the guest speakers, took first place. Man, he was savage, like savage. He was just out there and kicked everyone's ass. It was a great time though. Had a lot of fun.
Shit. And your wife is awfully competitive too.
I know, and I won, and it was amazing, but just barely. Her and you were going head to head. And then we also had people who weren't so fast and competitive, and that was also fun. So I had a good time and really looking forward to doing something fun in Boston this year in September. Also, speaking of mastermind people, we're continuing to finish up our migration to mastermind. We've moved into a new area. We got circle.so. It's an app if you haven't heard of it. We want to get rid of the distractions and all the stuff that comes with Facebook, and we've really gone in to Circle and the mastermind group. It's much more focused in there. There's no algorithm to show you what you think you should be seeing. It's really nice. It's been really good. And then we're getting all of the training put in there, all of the webinars, everything. So that's been a big upgrade for mastermind members. So far, really good feedback. And then Bradley's getting started with some beta testing for some upcoming training for the mastermind with mastermind members only. I believe that kicked off on Monday.
Yeah, kind of a soft kick off. The official date is next Monday. But I just wanted to kind of do a meet and greet with the members of the beta group and kind of lay out my vision of this program and all of that. And that's what I did on Monday. So we're going to start kind of the official start date on this next Monday. So.
Cool. And if you're not a part of the mastermind, you will be able to get into this down the road. We'll be opening this up later on in 2023. And this is, well, Bradley, do you want to tell people a little bit, just a high level of kind of what this is intended to help people do?
Yeah, this is intended to help people build their an agency with consistent lead flow. Full stop. A scalable, repeatable, duplicatable services, productized service agency that's niche specific. So you guys can stop working yourselves to death and across multiple industries. Like Cecilia, God bless her. She, I know she does, all kinds of industries, and it's an enormous amount of work. And so I'm trying to streamline the fulfillment side of things, make it easier on you guys to generate a consistent lead flow of prospects into your pipeline. I want you guys to be building your business, not always just building your clients' businesses. It's what we do in SEO, right? We focus on our clients' businesses and we don't build our own. And I want to change that. So semantic mastery, that is precisely what this program is about you focusing on your business first and foremost, generating revenue for your agency, consistent lead flow, fill your pipeline full of leads. That way you can cherry pick the clients you want to work with. You can charge higher prices. You have duplicatable, repeatable, scalable, productized services so that you can remove yourself from the process and your business will still generate revenue. Does that make sense? Unless you want to be somebody that does custom SEO every fucking time, and then you are the one that's on the hook to do the work every time. So if you want to be self-employed, continue doing that. If you want to be a business owner that can generate revenue even when you're not present, then come check out what we're going to be doing. So that's basically it.
And I'm going to drop the link then and just say, if you want to join the mastermind, I'm signed into my agency account. I'll switch that over. I was about to say, I'm going to drop the link over in here, but I'm going to drop it to the mastermind in a second. And we've also got a couple more links, something I forgot to share over the past couple of weeks, but we have talked about the web apps that Chris Greenhow has been developing. And we are working with Bradley, uses them. I believe there's several mastermind members already using them. I'm going to put the link in there. You can check those out if you're interested in that. And then Vetted. I messed it up last week. Bradley, is it a 10% discount?
10% right now. Yeah.
All right. 10% discount with the code semantic, right? For any service on Vetted.
Yep.
Awesome.
And I just added a new service. In fact, Vasco sent out an email today featuring that new service that I just launched this week. It's for niche edits or link insertions.
Nice.
It's a little bit more cost-effective way to still get 100% topically relevant links, both with relevance matching at the referring domain or page and domain level, if that makes sense. So highly relevant links. It's a quick and easy way to get highly relevant links. It's less expensive than some of the other processes that I provide. So.
Yeah, and I will real quick, Bradley. I told you, you asked, hey, we should show this on Hump to Hangouts today. I can't share who it was or exactly what they said, but someone that I look up to and that I know we all know has a deep history in SEO, and somebody I trust for their information was asked in kind of a private channel what they think about the SEO industry and where it's going with what's going on just in the world, AI, everything that's going on. He said, I literally have no idea. I can't imagine several years down the road. And he had some other comments, but he said one of the things that he really thinks is going to be valuable at least in the near and midterm, so several years, is that backlinks are going to become probably more important. That right now it's still the hardest trust signal to fake. And we were just kind of chatting about that. I was like, I definitely think there's something to that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because 2 years ago I had a different opinion than that, like completely different than that. I thought 2 years ago that links were going to become less important over time. But because of how relevance is now so much of, like, Google's algorithm, it's done algorithmically. Like, in other words, Google's algorithm determines if there's relevance matching, right, from the links. And if there's not, it just devalues them. It just doesn't give them any weight or credit, essentially. If there's no relevance, they're ignored. If there's partial relevance, they get partial credit. If there's full relevance, they get full credit. So I agree with that. My opinion has evolved as I've seen the algorithm change. And now I know that relevance is key. I've been harping on this lately a lot in our mastermind. And also I've been doing a lot of audits lately. So is Chris. We've been doing a lot of audits lately. But I talk about there's three kind of main areas that we should optimize for the semantic web. Associations between entities, number one. Number two is relevance. Number three is corroboration or data validation, right? Reinforcing and validating information on the web. So those three things are really critically important for optimizing for the semantic web. Associations between entities, we can accomplish a lot of that with on-page, as well as interlinking branded entity assets, helping with discoverability, all the things that I teach in the mastermind. So that helps with creating associations or forcing Google to recognize associations between entities. Relevance, you can accomplish that with topical authority or topical relevance on page, plus through backlinks. Topical relevance through topically relevant backlinks, and geographic or location or proximity relevance through Google Maps and the various kind of proximity or geo signals that can be generated. And then there's corroboration or data validation, reinforcing and validating data on the web. And there's all three of those are connected and they kind of feed each other. So in other words, when you corroborate, so let me explain what I mean here. Associations between entities. We talk about expanding the entity footprint all the time, adding nodes to the knowledge graph or informing the knowledge graph, right? Which is why we talk about Syndication Academy is still valid, even if you're not syndicating, because we talk about how to create, optimize, and interlink branded entity assets, and then helping with discoverability, helping Google to come crawl them. Doesn't matter whether they're indexed or not. What matters is if Google crawls them. So we help with ways to crawl. But so that's the entity associations between entities, right? We help Google to associate that this brand is present on all these different places on the web. But that is also corroboration. Do you understand? We are corroborating data when we are validating or reinforcing information, brand information or entity information, by publishing and interlinking and validating that information to Google, to the semantic web. So, and then if it's going to be relevant, right? So my point is there's like three legs to that stool. And if you take any one of them away, it's unstable. But if you have all three of them there, then it's a stable, it's a stable platform to build your SEO empire on, or your website or whatever is what I'm trying to say. So, I think backlinks are actually, the reason why 2 years ago I thought they were going to become less important was because I didn't know that at that time that Google was going to apply its natural language to the core algorithm. And now it can almost instantaneously. It can determine if there's relevance to a link. And if there is, then it gives, depending on how relevant it is how much credit it's given. And that's what I think your colleague, Adam, was basically referencing, is the fact that we can still spam links all day long, but if the links aren't relevant, they're not going to produce an effect. So it's harder to fake relevance through backlinks. And that's what I'm saying. I think now it's going to become more important to only focus on links that are relevant, either topically or geographically, locally relevant. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Agreed.
Anyway, that's my opinion. Okay, guys. One last thing is, Cecilia, just so you know, I pick on you only because I care. and by the way, I'm going to reach out to you privately, Cecilia. I've got kind of an offer for you to work with me on some beta testing stuff.
Ooh, right.
Yeah. He has a proposal for her.
Yeah, I do. For her, specifically for her, because she's so damn helpful all the time.
Proposal. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. This would be really cool. Anyways, yeah, I'll let you deal with that.
So anyway, I'll reach out to you privately in the Circle community, Cecilia, and we'll chat it out. Maybe jump on a call if you'd like. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump into questions if that's cool.
Go for it.
Right. I kept this one from last week because I don't think I answered this. I think it probably came in after the webinar, and Jenny purchased a competitive link analysis from me. And so I thought this was a good question. So I'm going to answer this one and we'll roll through these guys and then we'll jump into the chatty comments again, which, by the way, I love it. I love the engagement in the YouTube chat now, guys. It's much more engaging now than it used to be when we had it as just kind of a chat widget underneath. I don't know. I was mentioning this to my partners earlier, or last Friday, about how the engagement has been like through the roof recently. And I appreciate that. I really like that. A lot of it's just you crazy bastards that are there at 6:30 in the morning too. So anyway, appreciate you guys very much. So starting with this one, hey, Bradley, I ordered your service competitive link analysis report and vetted, and I had received the report you delivered. Thank you so much for the thorough analysis. Can you please provide further details about the asterisk next to the URLs in the report? And what action would you advise in the event our client has a higher number of links than the average of the competitors? Thanks. Great question. Okay, so when I always talk about this on sales calls and such, when I'm explaining the report, because part of my sales process is when somebody schedules a call with me, they're redirected to a competition analysis form that they fill out for one location. It doesn't matter which location, which project. It's just so that we can create a competitive link analysis report, and then we have some data to review on the sales call. And I can show them how we use a data-driven approach to determine what kind of links, what the topical categories are, the number, et cetera. And so we go through that entire process. Now, we always talk about, remember, Google doesn't rank websites. Google ranks web pages for search queries, not websites. So we always have to start analyzing the competition for a particular search query based on pages or URLs. However, a domain's authority, and I don't mean Moz domain authority, a domain's authority has a significant influence on a page's ability to rank. Do you understand? So we can't just focus in at page level metrics. We always have to zoom out and also analyze domain level metrics. We have to, because if you just focus on page level metrics, you're missing a big part of what it takes to rank, essentially. Because so I bring that up because for a lot of local search queries, if you analyze backlink profiles for the ranking URLs, you'll see that in many cases, there are few or no backlinks at all, which means, and that's generally you're going to generally see that on projects or businesses that have multiple locations. And so they have a website that has a lot of pages and has authority built throughout the site, but the particular ranking URL has no backlinks or very few. And in the case of the asterisk, it means there was no external backlinks pointing to that ranking URL. But if we just stopped there, then we would, we wouldn't be giving the whole picture. In other words, if we just did the competition analysis report at the page level alone, and which, by the way, the reports that we generate with the pie graphs and everything, that is just showing page level metrics. But through an analysis process, like we always recommend, taking those, and look, you know what, I want to demonstrate this, guys. I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but I think this will be valuable for everybody because I think you guys will learn a lot from this process. So give me 1 second while I pull up a document. The screen is, I just want to make sure my screen was not being shared. Lynchburg tree service. Just give me a second, guys. I want to pull this up. We'll just use this one as an example. No, that's not it. Try another one. Son of a bitch. Let's try this one. I got too many files with the same damn name. Okay, I got it. Let's go with this. Let me close some of these other ones down. Stand by. Okay, you guys should be seeing my screen now. Is that correct? Somebody confirm. Yep. Okay. I meant the Excel file. I knew you were seeing my screen. All right. So this is what I'm talking about. We start now. This is an old file for one of my tree service projects. And what I'm saying, let me zoom in on this a little bit more. So what I'm saying is the competition analysis reports that we generate, this is the keyword, the search query that we used for this analysis. Okay. So we always title the sheet with the search query used. Okay. So Lynchburg tree service was the keyword we searched in this case. Here's the top ranked competitors. Now we omit any kind of directory sites. So we try to, this is all done manually, by the way. Still haven't figured out a way to automate any of this. So we eliminate directory sites because directory sites play by a different set of rules. They are massive authority-based sites that literally directory sites, they have a different set of rules than typical local business type sites. So we eliminate those so that we're a like for like comparison. We're comparing apples to apples, not apples to oranges. Okay, does that make sense? And then what we do is we always do it at the page level because that's what Google ranks. Google does not rank sites, it ranks pages. So this particular query, these are the top ranked, or at least at the time that this report was generated, these are the top 5 ranked organic competitors that are like for like comparisons. Now at the page level, you can see there's 2 of them here that at the page level had 0 external backlinks. Okay, so when it has 0 external backlinks, if we plug a 0 in there, it breaks everything. So we put an asterisk there and put a one backlink in, and we mark it as a brand anchor, because typically the vast majority, 80% or greater of the sites or projects that I analyze have the average anchor text ratio of the top 5 ranked competitors is 40% or greater in brand/URL category. Okay. This is an example that falls right into what I typically see. So whenever we have a 0 external backlink, a URL that's ranking with 0 external backlinks, we still have to plug a number in for it in order for it to register here. So we plug 1 link in there and we mark it as a brand anchor, because that is what we see the vast majority of anchor text ratios in out of the top 5 average top 5 ranked competitors, the average of the top 5 ranked competitors. So hopefully that's clear. Now, that said, let me back up for 1 more minute. Let me pause the screen, get Majestic open, because I want to teach you guys something else about this. All right, so that's why I started to say, guys, if we were to just kind of stop at that, all right, here we go. If we were to just stop there and say at the page level metrics, okay, look, this is showing an average number of backlinks of 5 for the top 5 ranked competitors. This wouldn't be an accurate representation of what the true competition is, because that makes people look at, well, then you should be number 1 because you've got 25 links and your competitors only have 5. Well, remember, quantity means nothing anymore, guys, except I try to recommend not exceeding the average number of backlinks of your competitors. In some cases, that's already occurred and you can't do anything about it, which was the second part of her question, and I will get to that. But what I want to point out is, indeed, this project is ranking Lynchburg Tree Service. It's ranking organically number 1. I have never did anything really much with the Google Business Profile for this one. This was something that I used for training purposes 2 or 3 years ago, I think 3 years ago, and I've never done anything with it since, and it's still ranking number 1 today. So it's crazy. Organic. I didn't do anything with the Google Map stuff, but just wanted to kind of point out what I'm explaining here, guys, about why we do what we do with these reports the way that we do. However, like I said, you can't just stop at the referring page, or excuse me, the ranking URL or ranking page level. You have to go zoom out and look at analyze the domains and the backlink profiles to the domains themselves in order to get a true picture of what the competition is. So how do we do that? If you go to Majestic and you go to bulk backlinks, you can plug the URLs in there. And I always do this. I grab the target URL, so my money site or my asset or the client's whatever target asset. Then I copy the top 5 like this. And I'm going to go to Majestic and bulk backlinks and paste those in. Then I copy that whole thing to my clipboard. I'm going to click check backlinks count. And again, this is just showing me page level metrics. Then I'm going to open up another instance of bulk backlinks. Then I'm going to open up a tool that I use all the time. It's just a free URL trimmer. Okay, right here where I'm going to paste the URLs in, click trim URLs to root, trim URL, copy the root domains, come back here, paste them in, click check backlink counts. You guys think I've done this a couple of times? So here we go. Now we're looking at the backlinks at the root domain level. And by the way, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't give even 1 fuck about the number of backlinks. What I care about is referring domains. Do you understand? So the number of backlinks means nothing to me. What matters to me is the number of referring domains. And this is where I kind of look at here. Now, this is showing, for example, if we go back over here, this Bartlett, they're ranking with 8 external backlinks, but I bet you those 8 external backlinks are probably crappy links. But you can see if we go look, they've got 3,280 referring domains, because that's a big, large multi-state company. It might even be national. I know they go up and down the East Coast for sure. And so my point is, you can see that this is a very authoritative domain, and yet I'm still outranking them, right? Because, again, I have significantly fewer links built to my domain, but they're relevant. And there's also the georelevance and all the other stuff that I did through the SEO work that I did to that. I didn't do much on the map side of things, but I did on the organic side, and it's ranking. It's working. Does that make sense? So you can see I have 31 referring domains. Look at the other top ranked competitors. So that's why I said you got to pay attention, guys, to not only the page metrics, but the main metrics. because this is more of a true or accurate representation of what we have to compete with. The page level is just the starting point. You have to zoom out and understand and start. And again, I go through this with my link building prospects, at least, is if we go to open up like Monster Tree Service, again, that's a national company. So I know that for sure, because I know that they're also in like Kentucky and, Virginia and all that kind of stuff. But like, for example, we could use that one. It's fine. Because what I want to point out here is when you're doing a competitive link analysis and you go to the root domain level, this can be very discouraging. What does that mean? I got to build 850 more or 820 more links, from 820 more referring domains in order for me to be competitive? No, absolutely not. And this is eye-opening. Sometimes, I'm not kidding, guys, on sales calls, sometimes I hear audible gasps from the people, the prospect, when I show this to them. So like if we go to Monster Tree Service, root domain, and we go to backlinks, what I'm going to do here is we're looking at one backlink per referring domain, okay, because multiple links from the same source domain have diminishing value, okay? So this is using Majestic's own internal algorithm to determine what it thinks is the strongest link from a single referring domain, because sometimes there can be many, right? So I'm looking at whatever Majestic determines is the strongest link from a referring domain. Then I'm going to set a few filters here. I only want to look at do follow links. Why? Because no follow links they're still valuable for SEO. And if anybody tries to tell you no follow links aren't valuable for SEO, they're full of shit and they don't know what they're talking about. Okay. No follow links are absolutely critical to a healthy backlink profile. And they're effective, by the way, but they don't affect anchor text ratios. So therefore I can eliminate no follow links from the analysis. Okay. And so that's just dropped 200 referring domains right off the bat. Boom. Right. So now it's looking less competitive. All right. Well, let's go take a look at, we only want to look at live links, not deleted links. So it dropped another 20, 25, 30 domains. Right. So then, okay. So now we've got 620 referring domains that we should build. Right. No, here's why. Out of those 620, 542 of them have trust flow value 0. So there is a cumulative effect from that many trust flow value zeros. But on an individual link level, none of those links are significant enough to even spend any time analyzing them, right? They're unworthy of spending additional analysis time on them. So we can jump right into the links that have trust flow values and then start cherry picking or determining which out of those links that have trust flow values are actually providing some measurable relevance. Because as I mentioned at the top of this Hump Day Hangout, guys, there are 3 things that we should be doing to optimize for the semantic web. Forcing Google to recognize associations between entities, relevance, and corroboration, right? So if there's no relevance from these links or very little relevance, they're not really providing any value. I don't care what the trust flow metric is. It could be trust flow metric 60, and I don't give a shit. If it's not relevant, it's not providing an effect. Do you understand? So I can go right into here and like just for time's sake right now, I'm going to jump into the 21 to 40 trust flow range. And now what I do is just, again, my team and I do this manually. I have not figured out a way to automate this. This is a very manual process, but it's effective. And that is when I'm looking now at the links that have high enough trust flow that they should be quite effective as long as there's a relevance match. Do you understand? Then I go right here and I look at the backlink and I'm looking first at the topical category. Is it relevant to what it's linking to? Is there some sort of a logical relationship between that topical category and what it's linking to? And in this case, business, construction, and maintenance, this is one of the 3 primary topical trust flow categories that are relevant or fully appropriate for a tree service contractor. The other being business, agriculture, and forestry, and the third being home/gardening. So I can go through here and take a look and determine if there's topical relevance from the link. And if there's not topical relevance or only partial relevance, then the next thing I look for is I look at the backlink itself and determine, is there local or geographic relevance? Because like, for example, this one right here, this is a junk link. This is one of those web scraper links. This link is providing absolutely 0 value. It has a trust flow 23 and people, traditional SEOs think, oh, trust flow 23, that's probably a good link. No. Not for this business. It's not, because this is a web scraper site with a trust flow 23 and an irrelevant category, and there's no geographic relevance either. So this link is absolutely worthless. I don't give a shit about that trust flow value. It means nothing because there's no relevance matching. Do you understand? So you just go through here and just pick off each one of these. Again, out of these 8 referring domains that we're looking at here, we know that this one's relevant topically. There may be some, and I don't think there's any geographic relevance here because I know trees.com is a national site. This one, there's a little bit of relevance because it's in the business category, but it's not much. But there might be some geographic relevance here too. Does that make sense? So we just go through this and kind of like literally analyze those the referring domains that have any measurable trust flow to determine out of those which links are providing some sort of relevance. And then we put those into a list of links that we need to meet and exceed in order to be effective or competitive. Hopefully that's clear. Anyway. I know that was a little bit more of a tutorial than I typically give, but that was a really good question. So the other part of that question was, and what action would you advise in the event our client has a higher number of links than the average of the competitors? Thanks. Great question. Branded entity assets should already be linking to your client's money site. Tier 2 link building. That's precisely, guys, why I share this graphic often, but that is this one here. Tiered link building. If you already have more backlinks, higher number than the average of your competitors pointing directly to the money site, then I recommend taking your branded tier 1 assets or other, they don't have to be branded, but I think it's more effective if they're branded. So any kind of tier 1 links that are out there on the web, again, I recommend powering up branded assets first, but you can take any tier 1 links that you currently have, preferably with branded anchor text pointing to the money site. And then you build target and or topic anchors, so keyword anchors at tier 2 and or tier 3. If you need to, you can go out to tier 3. It's not always necessary. In fact, for a lot of local things, it's not really needed at all. You can usually accomplish everything with tier 2, 2 tiers of links is what I'm trying to say. But again, a brand anchor pointing to the money site, select a target asset that has a brand anchor pointing to the money site. And then you can build target and or topic links to that asset so that you're pushing keyword relevance through a branded anchor to your money site without adding additional links to your money site. Do you understand? It's about pushing more relevance and equity, link equity. And you can accomplish that with tiered link building. So anyway, really good question. Love those kind of questions. Next, James Fully Love, he says, hey, Bradley, question on citations for location pages. If my business is called Elite Plumbers and I have a location page called Elite Plumbers Brisbane, do I create those citations with the name Elite Plumbers Brisbane or stick with the real brand name? Thanks. I would optimize your citations or business directory listings to have the same name as it is published in the Google Business Profile. Does that make sense? So if the Google Business Profile has Elite Plumbers Brisbane, then I would have the citations marked as Elite Plumbers Brisbane. If it's Elite Plumbers, then Elite Plumbers. It's okay if the landing page has the Brisbane modifier. I still don't like that because, again, we talk about corroboration, right? Data validation, guys. I talk about this in the mastermind a lot, but look at the title of the Google Business Profile in Maps. What do you see? It says the brand name, and then it says Google Maps, right? Separator Google Maps. So it's the brand name separator hyphen Google Maps, right? If you look at the Google Business website, if you publish a Google Business website, look at the title tag, the SEO title. What does it say? Brand name. You cannot change that. It's the first thing. It's the brand name, and it's the same brand name as what is on your Google Business Profile. And then it's a hyphen separator. And then you can add what it's called the summary header or whatever. That's part of the SEO title. And it tells you in the Google Business website editor, it specifically states for best results, you should include, and it gives you the primary Google Business category. And then it also mentions the location of the city in which that Google Business Profile is located. Google is telling you guys, like through its own profile, its own properties, what is important to it. If the brand name is the first thing in the Google Business Profile map SEO title, and it's the first thing in the Google Business website title, and we cannot even change that, isn't Google telling you how important it is to have the brand name and the SEO title? Again, that's corroboration. That's creating, and again, these three things feed each other, right? Corroboration feeds or forces Google to recognize associations between entities. So Google is corroborating its own data between Google Business Profile and Google Business Website. So we should model that in our own websites, guys. Do you understand? The brand name doesn't have to be first, but the brand name should always be present in the SEO title. Full stop. Because that's how you create associations between entities. Do you understand? That's incredibly important. So interestingly enough, again, Google is recommending to us in the Google Business Website summary header, like helper text. It tells you for best results include primary Google business category and city. So Google is telling you in like literally with their own helper text, they're telling you in order for this to be the most effective, you should validate, corroborate the Google Business Profile data. And they even tell you that. So why is it that when I audit so many different people's websites, their brand names not on the SEO title, or they're not reinforcing their Google business categories in their SEO titles, right? So again, like I said, I would recommend, you don't want to cause brand ambiguation or entity ambiguation, whatever you want to call it. I think having appending a location modifier to a brand on a landing page is acceptable. I still don't prefer it. I would still recommend corroborating the data of the Google Business Profile on all three locations: money site, Google Business Website, Google Map. But if you were going to append a brand, location modifier to the brand specifically for a landing page, but it wasn't also added or appended to the Google Business Profile name, then I would recommend when building citations that you only build citations as the name is listed in the Google Business Profile, period. Because again, guys, it's about corroborating, validating information in the semantic web. That's what causes Google to recognize it, right? Because there's all this data on the web and Google understands, like, in order for it to be considered valid information, it has to be validated. And the way you can validate or help data to be validated is to reinforce it multiple places, especially Google properties. Hopefully that's clear. It's a good question as well. Bobby says, hey guys, I've always been the one posting content on my agency site blog, but it's not the greatest use of my time. So looking to bring in a writer with knowledge in the niche to start scaling content production. How would you go about organizing this and maintaining quality? Do you trust writers with a WordPress login, or is there a way to restrict access to only publish new content that needs to be approved? Yeah, you can. You can force them to publish in draft mode only, so that you have to review and approve before it can be published. So yeah, there's WordPress settings, and I'm sure there's plugins and stuff that will give you the ability to restrict publishing. And there's probably even just how you add the user. So yeah, I'm sure there's ways to do that. There's also, I know on AppSumo recently, I've seen several apps that are for content teams and things like that, that, might be valuable for you to go to AppSumo and look for those kind of apps where, for like content agencies and stuff like that, so that they can submit content to their clients for approval, for revision requests and all of that before they get published. And so you might want to look at AppSumo if you want to do that in-house. Maybe, I don't know, you might not even need an app. You can just do it with straight up Google Docs, right? Like have your writer draft the article and then you approve it and make edits and revisions, etc. in Google Docs. And then once it's approved, then they can publish it. So, I mean, don't overcomplicate it. Don't make a mountain out of a molehill, right? There's kind of sophisticated ways to do this and simple ways to do this. They all result in the same end product, right? End result. So a great way to get started is just Google Docs. I ran my agency with my lead blogger for years, strictly in Google Docs, Sheets and Docs, Google Drive. Okay. We're a little bit more sophisticated than that now because we have a much bigger team, but for years we operated that way. So you don't need complicated apps for that. You can do it. They might help, and it might be worth you investing or researching those, looking into them. But in the meantime, you could just start off with something as simple as Google Docs, or just set your permission level in WordPress for that particular user to where everything goes into draft mode. I'm sure there's ways to do that too. I just don't know what they are off the top of my head. So there we go. Moving on. Gregory says, with more featured snippets coming into SERPs, is it possible to change the type of SERPs for keywords with the use of CTR manipulation? I I've never done any testing with that for rich snippets or featured snippets. I've done it for Google Suggest. Like, in other words, with Google Ads, or you could potentially do it with Facebook ads too, but I don't do Facebook anything, so never mind. But with Google Ads, yeah, you can, and CTR manipulation can also be. I found it more effective with Google Ads, but you can manipulate Google Suggest, right? Without a doubt, you can do that with Google Ads or CTR manipulation. But like I said, I've tested it both ways, and I found it to be way more effective if you buy traffic through Google Ads. And but that was for manipulating Google Suggest, not rich snippets. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I think if you marked a page up properly with the appropriate markup, schema markup, so that it could create, or it's eligible for a rich snippet or featured snippet, then possibly sending traffic to it, click-through traffic would cause it to Google to recognize that and pop that featured snippet in. But I haven't tested that. It's a good theory. That's a good hypothesis to test. Does that make sense? So do it. Mark up, find something. Actually, it would be interesting to test that two ways. Find a search query that doesn't show a featured snippet yet, mark up a piece of content so that it's eligible to be a featured snippet, and then run search and click traffic to that and see if you can get it to force a featured snippet. Another interesting test would be to find a search query that does produce a featured snippet, mark up another piece of content, answering basically the same thing, but with a better answer, more thorough answer, whatever, and then running traffic to that and see if you can get it to replace the existing featured snippet with yours. That would be an interesting test as well. So I don't have an answer for you because I've not done it, but those would be two tests that I would want to test, set up if I were to test. Okay. Which, don't ask me to do it because I don't have the bandwidth, but a good question nonetheless. Gavin says, hey guys, how would you approach buying ads, media buying, to get traffic to affiliate articles? I can't use Google or Facebook as the niche isn't allowed, and ranking is taking a long time too. Curious if other good traffic sources I can use. I don't know because I don't do affiliate stuff, but do you have an email list? Can you build, number one, email would be great. Solo ads, think about that. Solo ads is buying ads where you're buying somebody else. You're buying the ability to post an ad through email to somebody else's list. So you might want to look at solo ads, build your own email list if you don't already have one. If you're going to be using solo ads, again, guys, I don't do any affiliate stuff. So this is just old school stuff from when I did do affiliate stuff. But solo ads, if you're going to run solo ads, make sure that you're running the traffic to a splash page or whatever, where the first thing you want to do is capture their email, or at least retarget or remarket. If nothing else, at the very least, you want to remarket. Whatever page you're sending them to, have a remarketing tag, because I don't use Facebook, but if it's Facebook, I think it's called a pixel. Remarketing on that landing page. But it's even better if you can capture their email as well, so that you can start to build your own list from renting other people's email lists, right? Solo ads. So that's another opportunity. Like I said, at the very least, remarket. Because if you're going to be buying traffic from other people's lists and you don't capture the email, you want to at least be able to follow them around with remarketing ads. Although you just said you can't do ads in your niche. So I don't know how that would be helpful. Anybody else in chat has any recommendations, please, by all means, share them, because I don't do affiliate SEO anymore. Haven't for years. Dre says, hey, howdy guys, been a long time, fan of your work, looking to get into rank and rent. How do you approach selling to clients, for example, a network of roofing sites to dominate the area? Do you give a free trial period or put onto monthly, yearly contract? I don't do contracts. I've done free trial periods many, many times. And that can be effective. Sometimes you get people that just take advantage of the free trial and they know it going into it, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I've turned a lot of those into clients though too. So I don't do contracts though. I've never liked contracts in the SEO industry, because I feel like it should be pay for performance. If I'm performing, you're going to want to keep paying me. If I'm not performing, then you should be able to let me go, and vice versa. If you're not holding up as a client of mine, if you're not holding up your end of the bargain, you're not doing what you said you were going to do, or not providing things that you said you're going to provide, or perhaps you're just a pain in my ass. I want to be able to end that agreement too. And if you have a contract, it gets messy, or can be. I guess if you have proper exit clauses, spelled out, then you could probably avoid kind of hassle. But I don't like, I do month to month. I always have. Okay. So what I would do, and something like that is, and what I'm teaching in the mastermind guys as part of this kind of hybrid agency model, directory hybrid agency, is to start off with like basically rank and rent on a small kind of like inexpensive level to be able to start to develop a relationship with the client, the service provider that is either, if you're just doing rank and rent, which is the easiest thing to manage, like $500 a month. I'm just using this as an example. Okay. You don't have to go with these numbers. I'm just saying like something like $500 a month to rent a small amount of, or number of sites or number of location pages, whatever, however you decide to monetize or separate that out. Okay. Then you start to develop a relationship with that service provider, client, whatever you want to call them, over the course of a couple of months. Throughout that process of developing a relationship and providing results to them, leads essentially, you can always upsell them and increase their spend, right? And that's what I like to do in my pitch is like, hey, why don't we start off small and we'll start generating some leads for your business. And what you can do is as you start to build more revenue from, because now you got more leads coming into your business, set some of that aside that you can reinvest back into more marketing services. And what I like to do is I like to pitch the hybrid model to prospects. Whenever I'm talking about selling rank and rent or lead gen services, I always like to try to convince them that at some point in the near future, that they should also invest in optimizing. So hiring me to do retainer work for their brand. So you understand that's why you're getting revenue from two sources from the same client. You're getting revenue for them to either rent your assets that you own and control or buy the leads from those assets. But then I always try to, explain to my prospect, a tree contractor, like, hey, listen, this is a great way to get started. This is going to help you to generate more revenue for your business. But what I recommend as a business consultant is that you should always invest in building up your own brand too, so that you're not relying on third-party lead providers for your business, right? People say, well, aren't you talking yourself out of work? No, not at all. Because again, now what I'm trying to do is get 2 times the revenue, or at least additional revenue from the same client, by also building up their asset, their presence. And so what happens if I build up their presence and they decide they don't want to buy leads from anymore? Well, guess what? Don't I still own those assets? Aren't they still ranked and producing in the same fucking areas? Of course they are. So I can go ahead and, are you sure you want to do this? Mr. Tree Contractor or Ms. Tree Person, whatever, which is very rare, by the way. You sure you want to do that? Okay. That's fine. Because, Joe's tree service next door to you, I know he could use some leads too. You know what I mean? And so it's fine. So what if they don't want to rent your assets anymore? You've still got assets that you can monetize elsewhere, right? So anyway, I would encourage you, start that way, because, if you try to get somebody on a contract immediately, at least I found, especially in the tree service industry, like you're going to catch a lot of resistance. It's much harder to close. So my own personal opinion is, especially if you're doing rank and rent or lead gen stuff, start small, prove to them that you can get consistent results or provide them with consistent leads, and then work with them, talk to them about how important it is to also build up their own presence, right? And then upsell them. And remember, it's up to you to plant that seed about like, hey, listen, take 10% of the revenue from every job that you close from leads that I provide and put that aside, right? And that way you can start to invest in building your own brand, generating your own leads. Okay. Also, do you use their address for GMBs or secure your own manually? Okay. I don't really like to do spam GMBs anymore. They're very difficult to get and keep. They're hard to verify. And even if you verify them, they're hard to keep. And even if you can verify them and you keep them, a lot of the times they're hard to get. They don't perform as well, especially if you're using kind of a spammed address and you have to hide the street address, right? Showing the street address makes them perform better, even for service area businesses. Even though Google says not to do it, I know for a fact, if you show your street address, it performs better. So I don't like to secure my own Google business profiles now because of what I just described. But again, the hybrid model that I've been developing and teaching on is about building out assets with or without Google business assets, and then backing into clients that have verifiable businesses. right? So that if they don't already have a Google business profile, you can get it because they have a verifiable real business at a real physical location. So the point, again, that's going back to, even if you can't secure and verify Google business assets, don't. Just work on the organic side of things. Use that as a foot in the door to develop a relationship with your chosen industry, the business owners in your chosen industry. And then you can always back into like, okay, well, hey, look, I've got these organic. By the way, how do you find those clients? There's two ways. Number one, look in Google Maps and you can see those. Remember, guys, there's oftentimes not a correlation between Maps ranking and organic ranking. So a lot of times you'll see stuff ranked in the top, the Maps 3-pack that there's no organic presence, or they're on page 2 or 3 in organic, but they're in the top of Maps. So that would be a good kind of, that's one of those types of people that have, if they're in top of Maps, they've got revenue coming in, but perhaps they've got no organic presence, and you can produce that for them with your own organic assets. Another way is somebody that has organic presence, but no Maps presence. Right? You can get in contact them and say, listen, I understand you're ranked well in organic, but your Maps presence sucks. And that's where the vast majority of leads are generated for local businesses. So we can help you with that. And it's going to cost you this much, et cetera. Right? Another place is look in Google Ads. If you look at the top of the Google Ads section for the particular search queries in that industry, look at who's advertising, and then check Google Maps and check organic. Are they anywhere at the top of Google Maps or in organic search? And if not, you already know that those businesses understand the importance of paying for leads. They're advertising in Google and they have no organic or Maps presence, or it's very poor, but they're spending money on leads. They're at the top of search in the ad section, right? Or Google guarantee for another one. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is you can look at Google to determine which companies are the best prospects for rank and rent, and then what I call the hybrid model, which is rank and rent or pay per lead and retainer work. Combination of the two, in which case you've now got a valid business with a real verifiable physical location, so that you can either secure and verify a Google business profile if they don't already have it, or you can re-verify it in case it requires re-verification or suspension. Does that make sense? So there you go. Lastly, how do you mention using their address without sounding dodgy for the GMB part? No, you need an address, and I don't. There's nothing sounding dodgy about it, man. When you're talking to a prospect about getting them leads, just be honest. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Just tell them, like, look, in order for this to be like at least in the tree service industry, 70% of all the leads that I've generated over the last 10 years in the tree service industry have been through Google Maps, the 3-pack. So just mention that to them. Like, hey, look, we're crushing it in organic. That's great. But in order for you to get more leads, to generate considerably more leads, you need to be at the top of Google Maps for that specific area. One of the ways that we do that is we need to secure a Google business profile. We're going to need a physical address in that location. Can you provide that? Does that make sense? And have them just be honest. Like, this is what's going to help you to get more leads. We need a Google business profile in that location, this city, town, whatever. Can you make that happen? Can you get us a verifiable, valid address that we can, verify the business to? Put that on them, right? For your own lead gen assets, it's different. But when you're working with a company, make them do that, right? It's their responsibility. You can help guide them, but it's theirs. It's their business. Does that make sense? Anyway, God, we're going to run out of time here. Earl says, how do you guys deal with competitors bidding on clients' brand names in Google Ads? It seems stupid to pay for brand terms for traffic we would get otherwise. Yeah, but that's exactly why, though, Earl. Because other smart marketers are targeting brand names to poach leads from that brand that somebody goes to search. When somebody goes to search for a brand name, it's because they're searching for that company by name. Smart marketers will target the brand names, even though you pay considerably high CPC costs for that. And the conversion's low, but you will poach some leads from the intended company that way. I know it because I do it. I don't do it all the time, but I do it for some of my tree contractor clients. It works. And if you've got other marketers that are bidding on brand names for some of your clients, then I would advise your clients to have a small budget for Google Ads for their brand search. Does that make sense? Because here's the thing, guys. Paying for ads campaigns for brand search terms when it's your brand or your client's brand, it's very inexpensive. It's only expensive to bid on brand terms when it's other people's brands that you're bidding on. Does that make sense? So as the business owner, with the Google Ads account associated with the Google business profile, they have to be connected, linked. Then you can bid on that brand name, and the CPC is very inexpensive compared to competitors bidding. In other words, if competitors are bidding on your client's brand, and then you also set up a Google Ads campaign for the brand queries, then you will get very low CPC numbers, and all of the competitors will have higher CPC numbers, and Google will always reward, provided you have like at least a decent landing page. Google will always put your brand at number one in top of ads because it is your brand, and it's significantly less CPC than what the competitors are paying, even though they're below you. Does that make sense? So again, it doesn't take much, depending on the industries, can vary, but you can go with a brand search campaign for your client's brand very inexpensively as a way to kind of mitigate poaching of leads from the other competitors that are bidding on your client's brand. Hopefully that's clear. Are Google Stacks, authority stacks still working? Yeah, it's Google properties, guys. Google is not going to devalue its own assets, its own properties. Of course, they still work. Of course, they still work. Marco says, hey, hi, for single location websites, your recommendation is to build a one-page site plus the regular pages such as contact, about us, privacy, correct? Yeah, that's what I like. Correct. Essentially a homepage that has paragraphs for each of the service. Yes. What about supporting content? Are we expected to rank with just a single page site, homepage that tries to rank for a service plus city? Or is it okay to have a blog? No, you can have a blog. What you don't want to do is publish content that is competing with your primary landing page. That's all. Of course, you can have supporting content. You can have a blog with supporting content, but you have to make sure that your SEO titles are unique enough that, and they're not, so that they're not competing with, if you have a single page website, you should be optimizing the title tag, the SEO title for that single page website for the top level topic term, not keywords, the top level topic term. Okay. Because if you do, then you can rank for all the keywords associated with that topic. But if you optimize for keywords, then you're limiting your ability to rank for that keyword and what Google considers a variance or close variance of that particular keyword. I can't go into the details specifically of what I mean by optimizing for topics versus keywords, not here in this setting. I talk about it in our mastermind. But there is a very specific way to optimize for topics instead of keywords. Guys, stop thinking about optimizing for keywords. Those days are gone and over. Seriously. Start optimizing for topics. Entities is another term for that, but I think it's easier for people to understand when I talk about topics. So if you are publishing supporting content, it's fine. It can help to build topical authority to the domain. But what you don't want to do is target keywords that, depending on how you have the homepage titled, if you have the homepage titled for a topic, then that means there's a whole group, big group, typically, if done right, a great big large group of keywords that page, that one page can rank for all kinds of search queries, all the queries associated with all the keywords associated with that topic. So what you want to be careful about is publishing blog posts supporting content that are where the titles, the SEO titles, are too keyword focused, because the keywords, if they're part of that topic group of keywords, then that could be potential cannibalization with the main page that you want to rank. One of the ways that you can resolve that or reduce the likelihood or chances of that is to go with longer blog post type titles. Simple fix, right? Longer conversational type titles, which is typically how blog post titles are. So in other words, don't optimize supporting content like you do landing pages or top level service or product pages on the money site. Instead, make SEO titles longer, more conversational for blog posts. That's one of the easiest ways to reduce potential cannibalization, if that makes sense. But I love the one-page site structure, guys. It's so much better, so much easier to manage. And in some industries, you can do that. It's like tree service industry, without a doubt, it can be done, because all the services associated with a tree service contractor are all associated with the top level entity or topic, the two being tree service or tree maintenance. Those two are the broadest kind of topic terms. Okay. All right. Dan says, what are your thoughts on the new AI Google preview and how it will affect SEO? How can we survive when the whole page gets taken up by an AI? Is it just more long tails and forget about main articles like best car accessories. Dan, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Unfortunately, we're out of time, so I'm going to try to roll through these remaining couple. And Dan, and I'm not trying to be rude, Dan. I just don't know what you're talking about, honestly. A little bit more context would be helpful with that kind of a question. So forgive me for not being able to answer that one. Ryan says, in a down economy like now, how do you close SEO clients? Oh man, I got to be honest with you guys. 2 years ago, so the year after major COVID, like my agency got slammed because so many businesses stopped through COVID. But man, for the last year and a half, it's been fucking rocking and rolling. So I've not had any problem closing SEO clients recently. And I think that's because a lot of companies are going away from ads now because of the restrictions on privacy and all that kind of stuff that are occurring. So I think more people are actually coming to SEO, more companies, more businesses, local businesses are coming to SEO than paid ads right now. At least it seems that way, because I feel like I've had a much kind of an increase in being able to close SEO clients over the last year significantly. Anyways, I find all view it as an expense and don't ever want to go further to discuss. I've tried businesses like Plumbers, et cetera, that are always in demand and either have the same problem or they have heaps of work and don't want more. Yeah, I think maybe your approach is off. Maybe you're talking to the wrong people. There's always going to be plumbers that, plumbing companies that understand and want to grow their business. And some get it, some don't. If you're talking to companies that look at marketing and SEO as an expense instead of an investment that provides a return, you're talking to the wrong type of business. Seriously, like you should have some sort of a disqualifying mechanism in place to disqualify those people from taking your time, right? So again, like I talk about this all the time, guys, but developing a niche or industry specific agency, right? That significantly changes the whole dynamic of your pitch, your approach, and it attracts your ideal client to you, as opposed to you trying to push your services out on people that really don't know you or care about you, right? When you're doing push marketing, you're pushing your message out into the world. Then you've got to first capture their attention. Then you have to convince them that they have a need. Then you have to convince them that you're the solution to that need, right? But when you do pull marketing, inbound marketing, right? You create a niche specific agency where you cater to one type of client and you craft all of your messaging and everything to speak directly to that type. Now you start to attract your ideal prospect to you, where they seek you out to ask for help. That completely changes the whole dynamic of the sales pitch and everything, because they're the ones that initiated. They already know that they have a need and they're out there seeking somebody to fill that need, and they found you. So again, I teach this in the mastermind, guys. I have a whole fucking sequence of SOPs to teach you how to build a niche specific directory. And I'm currently building on that for the directory hybrid agency program that we are going to launch later this year. So if you want to get better results at closing clients, pick a niche, validate that it's a niche that's viable, right? Which is easy to do. And I teach how to do that too. And then build a brand around that. And that's going to significantly change your ability to close clients. I promise. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take consistent effort for several months. But I promise you, if you do that properly, it's going to significantly change your ability to close clients, because people will seek your ideal prospect will seek you out and ask for help. And that's a much easier sale. Trust me. Okay. Anyway. Come join the mastermind, Ryan, if you're not already there, and you might be. And if that's the case, ask these types of questions in there where I can go in a lot deeper and show you examples of how to do these things. Okay. He says, and guys, I got 2 more questions and then I'm done because we're already over. So I'm sorry about not being in the comments today, guys. He says, hey, Bradley, you recently showed in a previous Hump Day Hangout how you structure your local sites, which is brilliant, by the way. While going through this, you showed a spreadsheet, top level keywords with associated keywords under each. Interest to know what tools or process did you use to produce this list? I've talked about this before, but I just did it manually, Heath. And I did it specifically manually because I wanted to, just to be clear. Let me just pull that up real quick. Because I just wanted to see it visually with my own eyes. I'm serious. Like there are, I don't know of any tools off the top of my head that will do this, but I know there are tools that do it. But like, here's what you were talking about, the topics and entity sheet. And this is what I was talking about, optimizing for topics instead of keywords. For the love of God. I can't tell you how many audits I've been doing, guys. And even our mastermind members who I've been preaching and teaching about this shit for 6 months nonstop. And yet I get audit requests and I go analyze their project and it's like they just ignored everything. Like, what the hell are you paying for the training for if you're not going to implement it? I just don't understand. So many SEOs are stuck in keyword mode, and I get it. It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. I understand. Old habits are hard to break. I get it. But man, you guys are slow. Not any of you particularly. Just saying, the SEO industry, it seems like people are just slow to adopt, and that seems counterintuitive, right? In the SEO industry, we should be agile, nimble. We should be able to change direction and evolve quickly, right? And I just see too many people 6 months into the algorithm shifting away from keywords to topics and entities, and people are still optimizing for keywords. It just blows me away. Anyway, so just go to Google, search for keyword combinations, and start looking at what's bolded in the search results. That's how you start to determine what are associated keywords with if you're searching for topics, not just keywords. And again, I can't cover that here. Like, seriously. Anyway, I just do it manually. So for example, tree maintenance, and I discovered this through this process, guys. I've been doing tree service SEO for over 10 years, and I never knew this until within the last 6 months when I discovered this. Tree maintenance is actually the broadest keyword that provides the most topic coverage of all, even more so than tree service. Okay, but tree service is the primary Google business category. So we still optimize for tree service on main location landing pages because we want to reinforce, corroborate Google business data, right? We talked about that already today. But when you're talking about topic coverage, so more on the organic side of things, tree maintenance is by far the broadest topic coverage for the tree service industry. And what's interesting about that is I've never seen in the wild any kind of tree contractor website ever optimized for tree maintenance. And I found a keyword that ranks for all the keywords, and that's tree maintenance. And I've proven that multiple times. But anyways, if we go through here and look at tree maintenance, we can see tree maintenance, we just start popping off. There's another one there, tree pruning, maintenance, trees, I already said that, tree service. We can scroll down and we'll find other ones. We'll see tree. There's another one for tree pruning again. So just go through and start to collect them. That's what I do. I'm sure there's tools out there to do it, but since I'm in a single industry, I wanted to literally see it with my own eyes. So I did it this way. And there you go. Okay. Next. Frankie, hey, Bradley, planning on ordering some links from you to implement on the audit you did for me yesterday. Thank you for that question. I know you mentioned I need more backlinks for the client site, especially the inner pages I want to rank. However, I'm wondering if I should order these backlinks for the tier 1 branded assets instead, so that I still control the power of those links and still benefit like shown on the local link building diagram. If that is the case, then won't there still be no new backlinks reflecting in the backlink analysis report like the one you did and showed me, and the site will still only show the homepage with all the links? I was wondering what you think is a better option. Thank you. Yeah, no, in a case like that, I would recommend building links directly to the pages, the pages that had poor distribution. And I pointed that out in the audit. Like you said, the homepage had like all the links, and like none of the inner pages had any links. I think a few of them had one link. Or links from one referring domain is what I mean. You know that I've said that before. Referring domains is what I care about, not backlinks. So I would still build links. You don't have to build many, but what I would want to do is push a few links to each of those top level inner pages so that you can push topical relevance directly to those pages, because that was one of the other issues that I identified in your audit, remember, was your topical trust flow is way off. And so that's one of the quickest ways that you can manipulate that into an appropriate range. Is by building links to internal pages. Remember, your homepage has already exceeded the average number of backlinks. So we don't want to build links to that if possible. You're still going to need to, because your anchor text ratio was way over optimized. Like one of the worst I've ever seen. So you're still going to have to build links to the homepage with brand anchors in order to start reducing that over optimization of keyword anchors. But because of that, and as you were talking about distribution, you're going to need to also build links to inner pages, but that's how you can manipulate the topical trust flow categories very quickly as well. So anyway, this is a great question. frankly, that would be more appropriate for me to answer in the mastermind, where I can go into more detail with the group about it. Not your particular project, but I can give more granular details about what to do, if that makes sense. Remember, this is a public setting, so I got to be careful about what I share. Last one, Ryan says, hey, Bradley, last week you talked about GMB verification method with the monthly expense to keep the listing live. You said you don't mind sharing it in the mastermind. So I would like to know if this method requires registration documents to get the listing live. Nope, none. Only if you want manager access afterwards. And how much monthly is it to get, so I can get an idea if you do multiple of my clients. It ranges, but somewhere around $70 a month, depending on how you set it up. Anyway, like I said, guys, I can't talk about that here. If you want to join the mastermind, by all means, come on in. I will share it with you there. It's pretty easy. Simple way to get Google business profiles. You don't get manager access, but you don't need it. If you want manager access, you got to produce corporate documentation. So that's simple. So I will talk about that in the group if you join the group. Okay. Okay, guys, I don't have time to go through these comments and I'm 10 minutes over, so I'm going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys. This was a really good Hump Day Hangout as usual. I love the engagement from you guys. Appreciate you. We'll see you guys.